day, YouTube. It is Charles here, and today I want to talk about my favorite comic book universe and one of my favorite books out right now, and that is King Spawn. This is King Spawn number 52, cover A, I have here in my hands, and this is a great book. The thing about King Spawn, I think when King Spawn first came out, I thought it was a book about a different Spawn than Al Simmons. I was relatively new to comic book collecting, and I knew nothing of Spawn or the Spawn universe, which is something I have thankfully corrected over the past few years. A big part of my collection is now Spawn and Spawn universe titles. I have never regretted reading a Spawn book, and what this is the Al Simmons Spawn. It's in the same universe and the same timeline, but it tells the story from a different angle. And it tells more stories that the mainline Spawn book does not have time for. It is like a bonus feature or a B-side to the mainline Spawn book. So if you're reading Spawn and you're not reading King Spawn, you're really missing out on a lot of great Al Simmons stories. And also the art of an artist who is really becoming one of my favorites. His name is, you have to forgive me if I mispronounce it, Yildiray Cinar. It is Yildiray Cinar. A brilliant comic book artist. And one of my favorite things he does is at least one time, and every single book he'll have a big 2-page panel that is just, right here with this action shot with Spawn here, in the way that the panels kind of overlap, and you have these smaller panels on the outside of the 2 pages, and you have a big action piece cutting through the center. Really innovative stuff like that. And I think there was a big, that may be the big 2-page, but at least, like I said, at least once a book you're going to get one of those big 2-page panels and one of those big action pieces. The way he draws Spawn and Spawn action is very visceral and very, very, probably a little bit of photorealism with a lot of brightness and a lot of color and a lot of texture. And this story in particular is great, Spawn 52, because it is a single story. And so you don't have to have any backstory before or after 52 to enjoy it, because it is a one-book arc. Something you don't see enough, I think, in modern comic books. And it really revolves around this man, Paul, who has, his father was a gangster, a mobster. And you start off with him, it says years ago, and he's getting news of his father's demise at the hands of Spawn from one of his father's cohorts. And this sends him into a spiral of, all kinds of folly and reckless decisions, and he finds that he has an opportunity to set things right, so he thinks. And there is a very clever twist. You get closure, but also it's all a very dark story. And Spawn, though he is the catalyst of the story, he's really a B character in this story to this man Paul, who we see, this information he gets as a young man destroys him. He starts building his life up, and by the end of it, he finds closure to that chapter in his life. And our protagonist, Spawn, is a big part in that. But like I said, he's more of the catalyst of the story rather than the main center of attention here. I'm not going to go too much further into the plot, because that would really, if I tell you too much more, it's going to ruin the reading experience, and that is something I do not want to do with this channel. But if you are curious about Spawn, the Spawn universe, or King Spawn, get to your local comic book store, get King Spawn number 52. A great book. Like I said, you just have to get this. You don't have to have any backstory, any foreknowledge of Spawn to really get it. So I'll see you guys next time. Until then, keep reading them books. I'm out.